Okay, episode 2. Here we are. Hi, Brett.
Hey Nick,
What's going on?
another week, another week of great music.
Oh yeah, so much to get to. I'm very excited. Um, I want to jump right into this because it just kind of broke like an hour ago. You sent it over to me. Sum 41 double album, back to their roots of all killer no filler. How excited are you?
Very excited at the news. Little nervous about the double album. I have many thoughts on double albums, but if we're at least one of them is going to be like all killer no filler, I'm all for that. Especially if it was like he made it because he had no like bonus tracks that throw on. I guess the 20th anniversary edition.
Yeah, yeah, I was reading that as well. They wanted to do like a like you said, like a 20th anniversary edition. And he just, I guess they didn't have extra tracks. And then he wrote a couple in that style and realized how much he liked it. So he's sticking with it. I'm excited. I don't think they ever like jumped away from the sound that much though, that they
Yeah, I
need
was
to go
surprised when
back.
he said that.
Yeah, like I guess they got more metal as they went on. I mean, well, what was it Underclass Hero was a little maybe
A little
softer.
poppier.
Yeah, which I love that album. But I was listening to their most recent because I was trying to remember what they've been up to. I had the one 13 or something 13. Um, but they had that song War on it, and then that was like a big single. But they were just like heavy. They're underrated like metal guitarists, I think. People who
And then
yeah.
getting Brown sound back in the band helped too, because like he was the one I was always shredding alongside Derek.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So that I
Um,
feel like brought them back to those roots, and now we're actually getting the album fully back to those roots. But I don't know. Do you get nervous with double albums, or is that just me?
uh it depends on the band. Like I don't know, some 41 I've been with for so long, like a ton of songs. It's just more songs that are potentially great. And if there's duds in there and it winds up being a normal album's amount of good songs, then that's fine.
I think that's like the
Yeah.
catch there, because like if you have like enough good songs, like make that the one album. But I guess if it's very like different, but it's different styles. He was saying it
Yeah.
looks like, because I know he wanted to do all clear no filler, and then like kind of some more softer stuff like about his family and wife and kids and everything. I think I was reading.
I'm down with that though, because their soft songs are great. Um
They do know how to make a ballad.
yeah, yeah. Some say it's a good one off Chuck. Underclass Hero.
With you.
Yeah, that one. Oh man. Yeah, so like they're
All
great
right, maybe I'm
at
overreacting.
we'll
I
see
think
what
I'm so scarred
happens.
from Green Day, honestly. Now I think about it. Uno
Uno
dos
dos
tre.
tres. Oh man. Yeah.
That did a lot of damage to my psyche.
Yeah, especially did those no, did those follow American Idiot or was there one before?
That
I
was
don't
after was it 21st Century Breakdown?
yes, okay. Which anything following American Idiot is going to be tough because that album was a masterpiece. But yeah, Uno Dos Tre threw so many songs at us at once that it does kind of scare me off when that happens. Now that I'm thinking about it,
It's
because
overwhelming.
yeah, even when bands release like more than one album in a year, I wind up neglecting one of them usually. It's just so many songs to get to.
Except unless you're Weezer and you put out 7 song EPs, then more
Yes.
on that later though. So
Yes. I have many thoughts on spring season. But yeah, we'll get there. Um, yeah, the Sum 41 album he's calling Heaven and Hell, which kind of now that I'm thinking about what you just said, with the one side being kind of softer and family, that'd probably be heaven, I would hope, unless he's
hopefully.
has a really unhappy home life. Maybe it could be hell. I hope not for his sake.
It's been through enough, I think. So
Yeah, he was talking about driving around was it LA, wherever he lives, with his wife and his infant, just trying to like get his infant to sleep. And that's where he started writing a lot of these songs. So should be interesting. Um
no release date though, right? As of yet.
no, no, I was trying to find one. I didn't see anything about a release date, but
Hopefully by the time we see them, we have something to kind of tick into that show.
Yeah, I would think they got to have a few singles by then, like because they talked about touring in that Rolling Stone interview, and he said a new album is kind of like a necessary evil to touring, which is ironic because they're touring on a 20-year-old album.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not a necessary evil, but whatever. Um, yeah, because All Killer No Filler, they can play through that album in like 25 minutes. So
And still have plenty of set left.
yeah, I wonder who's gonna headline that show. Um,
They should, I would think, over Simple Plan.
I would kind of hope nothing against Simple Plan, but if I want one band to like take us out into the night, let Sum 41 do it.
I think they're just bigger too.
Yeah, yeah. Simple
Better
Plan's-
albums as a whole.
like I saw a press release from them and they were talking about how like I'm Just a Kid is like a TikTok trend. So I don't know.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. So if that's what's inspiring you to tour, then maybe you're not like as huge as it used to be. But I mean, whatever. It's a great album that they're touring
It's like-
on. So
Is Perfect the next trend?
oh my god. Perfect and yeah. I was gonna say The Reason, but that's Hoobastank. It's basically the same song.
Same time frame, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially you worked in grocery stores a lot of your life, right?
And
As
they
did I.
ruined so many songs for me.
Yeah. I think Perfect and The Reason were both heavy on the Stop and Shop playlist, which
Oh, so was Welcome to My Life was on there too. A Simple
oh
Plan.
my god. Yeah, which at first you're like, sweet, I'm at work and there's a song I like. And then by like your second year, bringing up apples and bananas, you want to just kill yourself.
With Had a Bad Day blasting in the background.
Oh my god, that's why I hate that Spice Girls song, "Wannabe," because they used to just like
But
rip
that was on
in
there.
Stop and Shop. God, I hate that song. All right, that's the last I ever want to mention that song on this podcast.
Do we think Shop and Stop has a Spotify playlist?
Someone must have done it. I'm gonna type it in right now. Stop and Shop.
I never thought to look before until just right now.
Stop and Shop Radio.
Is it seriously on there?
All I Want. I Hope You're Happy. I don't recognize many of these. Some Hootie and the Blowfish. Oh, some Brian Fallon. That's nice. Matchbox 20. Kind of what you'd expect.
Oh no, are they ruining Brian Fallon for like poor like produce workers?
It's always so strange when there's crossovers like that. Like you read Sellout by Dan Ozzie.
I'm about halfway through it.
Did you get to the Rise Against chapter then? Probably.
Not yet.
not.
No.
Yeah, he talks about Swing Life Away and just how that was like a main hit for them, but it's like not like reflective of their kind of music at all.
No.
So people
It's
would
like-
hear it in like Target and then pick up the album and the first song would be State of the Union. He's just like screaming about politics.
It's like what happened to Green Day too with Time of Your Life, with Good Riddance, Time of Your Life.
Yeah. Yeah. These
Not representative of who they are.
No. I'd almost say Float On for Modest Mouse is similar, but not.
That's
I mean,
also a good one.
it sounds like them more than the other examples, but it's not super like indicative of their
No.
catalog. So I've been listening to Pup Song. Totally Fine came out with a music video, and I know I texted you about it, and you had told me that you don't really love listening to singles right before an album comes out, or just in general.
Because I'm a crazy person. Yeah.
It's a little crazy, but I also get it because bands these days, you get half the album before it comes out. So I can see where you're coming from.
Especially like when I know there's an album coming, I'll usually wait till I have the full product and then just listen to it all the way through. It's like if there's a one-off single and I know there's nothing coming behind it, I'll probably listen a few times. But just like as a whole, I've always been more drawn to albums than
Yeah.
singles. Like I know we were going to talk about the new Red Hot Chili Pepper song too. I haven't listened to that single yet either.
There's an
Because I know
album
I believe
coming.
there's a new album coming. If there's not, I should probably get on that. But
So there's actually 2 Chili Pepper singles, which I didn't realize. And one of them is like crazy funky. Like I really like it. Well, if you don't mind like Anthony Kiedis rapping nonsense words, which is kind of what you get with the Chili Peppers.
You can't like the Chili Peppers and not like that part of it.
Exactly. Exactly. It's not like the main draw of the Chili Peppers for me, but it's really funky. It's cool. Like Flea's going hard, and then like Chad Smith is right there with them, and it's a cool song, I gotta say. But it's the other one they've been playing on the radio a lot. Black Summer is the non-funky one.
And it sounds like Red Hot Chili Peppers you'd expect to, I guess, to hear.
Yeah, it's got kind of like a Under the Bridge vibe, um, like more like the chords of Under the Bridge.
Okay.
It's cool. Yeah, it reminds me of just like classic Chili Peppers, which is nice.
Need to
you,
dive back into them.
yeah,
It's been a while.
are you trying to see them on their tour?
Didn't even know they were touring.
Oh yeah, they're touring.
'Cause I've
But
never seen them before.
me either. It's kind of the Foo Fighters syndrome that we were talking about last week, though, because these bands are selling out stadiums and it's tough.
It is tough.
Yeah, it's
Thanks to Ticketmaster.
it's for some 41 shows to go see the Chili Peppers or the Foo Fighters.
Literally though.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. My friend's uncle might have a box, so I'm trying to like drop some hints.
I mean that's one way to see them.
Yeah, yeah. It's not really the like authentic concert experience, but whatever. It's in a stadium. Like I'm not gonna be on the floor, so what's the
You're still
difference?
there, just
Um,
with surrounded by food and booze. What's better?
yeah, yeah, and like sushi. I don't know. I just assume there's sushi. If I go to a box and there is not sushi or lobster, I'm leaving. Forget it. Thanks, but no thanks. I want a lobster with my Chili Peppers.
Like Yankee Stadium boxes with the lobster.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I did that once through like work, like Personas had seats, I think, and they like hooked it up for us. And yeah, a lot of sushi. So
I can imagine.
my expectations are high if I wind up going to these box seats, but I don't know. We'll see. Um, yeah. Have you been keeping up with the Gaslight Anthem clues?
I have. It's a little annoying because now, like today, we finally got like we see it's a video with a projector, and the countdown stops at like 6. So it's like how many? So we have like tomorrow is going to go down to like 1, and then I guess Friday they'll finally announce whatever it is they're going to announce.
Yeah, they're stretching it out quite a bit. And the first clue was the same as the projector clue, just without the video. And then they're just like, oh, we're gonna add video. Um, my friend at work, shout out Lauren, she thinks that they might be counting down to a documentary, which she would be disappointed in. I think we all would. I don't know. How would you feel if it was a documentary?
Have it on a pretty good source who told me it's a reunion tour,
Woohoo.
but unclear if there's new music coming or like you said a documentary or anything like that. But I'm
Yeah.
fairly confident there will be a tour of them getting back together. But I don't know if it's going to be like when they got back together a couple of years ago to play 59 Sound or if they're back,
Yeah.
so to
Those are
speak.
two very different things. They're so like, I feel like they have so much left to do. They got to be back. But
I don't know. His solo stuff he seems pretty happy doing that, but
Hmm.
it's not the same. But I feel like they did leave a lot left undone with Get Hurt. Like that can't be the last album you go out on.
yeah,
Your divorce album, you have to come back and make. Like he has a lot of music in him. I'm sure the band does too. So I'd love to hear like what they come out with next, especially after all these years.
yeah. It's just a matter of if they want to do it, because we know they can.
Yeah,
Um,
I think they do. So
I hope so.
we'll find out Friday.
They're teasing all this stuff. I was trying to think of other bands that have teased things.
Mike Can.
Oh, that's I knew there was like a big one that was just escaping me. Yeah, they had a great album tease, especially these bands that have been out of it, and that like Midtown was one when they announced this reunion tour, and I went back to the Instagram post, and it's like they posted nothing for years, and then you see like your favorite band post something, the comments are wild because everyone starts freaking out, and all they posted was just like it was just like a radio dial or something, just super ominous, and people lose their shit, which is a lot of fun.
What a
Um,
marketing tool, just being inactive on social media and then being active again.
yeah, the long con. Maybe we
Literally
should
though.
maybe we should put out no more episodes for 2 years and then be like,
And then
hey,
come back.
guess what? Episode 3.
After like 50 more Gaslight videos, like one a week.
Yeah, by then we might know what they're doing. um, I was looking at. I was thinking of the Bonnaroo clues. Have you ever like looked at these? Bonnaroo Festival, as they lead up to the lineup announcement, they put out like random clues that you can guess, and it'll like kind of tell you who who the thing is, which I kind of like. They make it into a fun little game.
Do you
I,
get free tickets if you guess right?
I don't think so.
Uh,
That'd be nice.
see,
That'd be
they should
nice. Yeah,
spice it up a
no,
little bit.
free tickets. Get out of here. No one's getting
Make it
free
mean
tickets to
something.
anything. I wrote some of them down though. Like they in 2016 they had one that just said "Cheers to our furry friends," and they posted that, and it was for glass animals.
Ah,
Yeah, little things like that. One was "Welcome to Springfield," Sturgill Simpson. So just like some of them
interesting.
are like a bit of a reach, but I like when I like when bands or festivals get the fans involved like that. But there's a nice line there, because if you just string them along with nonsense for
It
too
gets
long,
aggravating.
yeah, like Kanye comes to mind, like, and we don't have to go down a Kanye rabbit hole this episode,
Yeah,
but
different
like
day for that probably.
when he's putting out an album, it's like months of just cryptic nonsense, and
And promising dates, and then they don't. It doesn't drop on that date,
yeah,
and it
which
happens like 3 more times.
yep, which for him, I guess, is kind of like you're signing up for the spectacle if you're a Kanye fan. But I think if he was actually putting these things out the day he said, then like a ton of crazy stuff like that would be fun. But it could be frustrating too if you're a fan expecting an album and then it just doesn't appear.
It's very annoying.
Yeah, and then it does appear a month later, and you're supposed to give up your money and support them. I'd be a little salty, but I
That's why
probably
I'm a fan of the
probably still
surprise
would.
drop. Where
Yeah,
a new album just comes out of nowhere and it's just there.
yeah, that was Eminem did that. That's probably the most recent one I could think
So
of.
Beyonce or like Taylor Swift did it too, or both maybe.
Possibly both.
Feels
Um,
like something they do.
yeah, that's so
Not in a
cool.
bad way. I don't need the Bay Hive after me. I'm just saying that's what she did.
You're that famous, you don't even need promotion. Like,
Some bees in our comments tomorrow.
oh god, no, we come in peace. Um, Speaking of festivals, I saw Lollapalooza came out with their lineup. Um, it's got Metallica on the top, then Dua Lipa, who I'm not
Dua
very
Lipa.
familiar. Is that it? I'm not very familiar with her. Probably, maybe. I don't know.
Pretty good.
Um, MG,
And I'm not
yeah,
usually a big pop fan, but she's pretty good.
cool. I'll throw on like the top tracks just out of curiosity.
You probably heard
Uh,
them before. You just didn't know it was her.
yeah, that tends to happen.
Levitating.
I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, MGK was also up there, which he's huge right now, so I guess that's kind of expected. Hold on, let me pull it up. I have it here. Um,
And he'll be big on next week's show when we break that down.
yeah, he's is it tomorrow the album comes out? Or Friday?
Friday, right?
Yeah, it'll be tomorrow when people are listening to this. Or
Yeah, so tomorrow
you
comes
listen
out.
on Friday, Thursday. But yeah, there's J. Cole, Green Day, um, Metallica, Doja Cat, Machine Gun Kelly, Lil Baby, Kygo. And then there's just like a crazy amount on this undercard, which would take forever to sift through, which we don't have to do. But
I feel like Green Day's doing a lot of festivals this year.
yeah.
See here now too.
Do they are they even coming out with anything? Not that I'll ever complain about seeing Green Day, but I don't remember hearing them having anything in the works.
They're due. I think I think it was like 2020 was the last time they put something out.
Yeah, and
Or
usually if you're
or was
gonna
it
like
last year?
do the
Or
festival
2020?
circuit like this, usually or have something in mind that you're touring. But
Their last album was disappointing, so hopefully, if they do drop something, it's something better.
yeah, the last album, uh, I forget what it was called, but I just remember like really weird album art. Was that the one with the unicorn and all that?
Throwing up a rainbow, yeah,
Yeah,
and it kind of looked
yeah,
like American Idiot.
yeah. That one didn't really stick for me. I like
No,
Revolution Radio.
that was great. We saw them on that tour at Barclays.
Yeah, yeah. That album was great. Still breathing. Bang
They're
bang.
probably one of the best live bands I've ever seen. Now I think about it.
Yeah, Billy Joe's just like a born performer. It's
Yeah,
the dude's awesome.
I don't know how he does it after all these years still too.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like I guess when you just are good at it and love it, it just comes natural. I
Like
know.
Mick Jagger.
Yeah, all these guys. Like I can't picture Billy Joe ever stopping.
No,
He'll be 90 doing twist and shout to King for a Day. Up there.
one of my favorite Green Day moments, live moments.
It is fun. Does Lollapalooza have the best name of any festival? Lollapalooza.
I think it does, right?
La la la. Uh,
Warped.
Warped Tour is great, but
Then again, not a festival. Well, I guess
Yeah.
it kind of is, right? Or was.
a touring festival. But yeah, like when you think of like
Firefly.
yeah, like that's fine. I don't know, but Lollapalooza, that's a great name.
What's the bougie one? The bougie festival.
Coachella.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, the West Coast festivals, Coachella and Burning Man, which
Burning Man.
I don't know if that's as much a music festival as it is just like people getting really high in the desert.
Firefest.
Firefest, the goat. The goat. Do you think when we were young is going to be a Firefest in Vegas?
So one of my friends has a really good theory. I'll shout him out. Shout out to Frank if you're listening. He thinks it's like a trial run for when they do Bamboozle next year. Like if this goes off well, they're going to do something similar with Bamboozle here in Jersey.
On the East Coast. Yeah. I mean, Bamboozle's set for 2023. There hasn't been many updates in a few years, but I know that's the plan. They got to bring it if they're going to do it under the name Bamboozle. Like these Vegas festivals are essentially Bamboozle. I hope it's good.
I hope so. The last one they had in Asbury was that Skate and Surf.
I
No, it
think
was
Bamboozle
Asbury.
when Foo Fighters played and Bon Jovi.
Oh, that's right. It
Brand new. And
was on the beach.
Yeah, that was so fun. We're on the beach, brand new into Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi was a blast. That was
A lot of moms.
A lot of moms. I was
a lot of happy moms.
I was there with my aunt and uncle and their friends. They texted me because since we lived right there, like, we got extra tickets. You guys want to come? Hell yeah! And I was like rocking out for brand new. They didn't know what was going on.
Then they got their Bon Jovi, so that's all they cared about.
Yeah, we lived on a prayer out there on the Asbury shoreline.
Little runaways.
Yes. It was fun though. That's why I'm excited for See Her Now. Just the setting more than anything. I mean,
Curious how it'll be with Stevie Nicks solo.
Yeah, I am assuming she'll play Fleetwood Mac songs. I think she'd be kind of crazy not to. Maybe not exclusively, but I mean, you got to play like at least half of Rumors, right? Is that
maybe? I don't know.
Thinking? I don't know.
Just pretty. I don't know. I guess it's kind of a deep solo catalog. Like
Yeah,
Edge of 17.
I can't say I've ever really dug into it. I just even Fleetwood Mac. I just like know rumors basically, but
Rumors and was it Tusk?
Dusk.
One after that.
I don't even know. All right, you want to get to our interview with Nick and
Yeah,
talk some
let's
new
throw it over
music?
to him.
All right. Okay. We now welcome on a special guest, friend of the pod, coming all the way from Beverly Hills. He's got his pork and beans. His name, Nick Parko, senior editor, CBS Sports, senior sports editor, excuse me, CBS Sports, former sports writer at New York Daily News. Nick, if you're wondering if we want you to, we want you to. You're ready to talk some Weezer.
I sure am, and I wish I knew it in advance this was going to be a super Weezer themed intro, because I would have had a witty comeback, but I don't.
It's okay.
That was quite the intro.
There's so many. I could just make Weezer puns for like the whole interview.
I mean, yeah, I see you got the Weezer shirt, you got the blue album behind you over the shoulder.
Came prepared.
Nick is
for some
prepared.
Weezer. I was reading. I saw you and Brett wrote an article a while back. Blue versus pink, and Brett was arguing for blue, and you were arguing for pink, which I would be team pink if I had to pick. But
There we go.
fantastic album.
I assume everyone is team blue.
Except
I'm
Brett.
still deep blue. I put it on this week and I'm like, yep, this is still my favorite.
I mean,
Front to back, it's just like, I mean, Pinkerton is too. It's kind of like I like pizza and I like pancakes, but I like pizza a little better. That's kind of how I look at it too.
Just because I like Pinkerton more doesn't mean I don't also love the blue album.
100%.
Exactly.
They're both like flawless, but they're both very different, which is weird coming from the same band back to back.
Yeah, the band's history in general is just like all over the map. Like you listen to the EP that we're going to talk about, and then you listen to the older stuff, and the fact that they're the same band with most of the same members still intact too, besides Matt Sharp, it's just pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah, they've come a long way through a wide variety of singles and covers and colors and all the
A lot of colors.
Yeah, a lot of colors. So does Shakespeare make you happy, Nick?
You know, the line made me laugh because isn't not that I'm a Shakespeare scholar, but isn't the whole point of Shakespeare to not make you happy? Like, aren't they all tragedies? Like, I don't even really understand that lyric if we want to get really technical.
That's a good point. I think that is like the bread and butter of Shakespeare.
Most of the early Weezer is kind of Shakespearean with like how it's like it seems happy, but it's really not. You dig down into like what Rose is saying.
How overly dramatic a lot of their early stuff is, like Pinkerton.
Oh yeah, especially Pinkerton.
Yeah, he's a drama guy, I guess. But we love him for it. What are your thoughts? How you guys feeling about spring season?
Let Parko start.
I mean, I wouldn't say I went into it closed-minded, but I haven't like head over heels loved something they've done probably since like the Red album, which at this point is a pretty long time ago. Yeah, so I went into it open-minded, but I listened to it like 3 times to prepare for this, and I'm definitely not going to listen to it again after this episode. Like, it's all over the place. It's just as overproduced as everything they've done in the last handful of years. Don't even get me started on the lyrics besides just the Shakespeare one. Yeah, I mean, I'm not that crazy about it. I do understand why they chose that song as a lead single, because that one I think is the best on the EP.
Shakespeare, or was the
I think it's a little bit of love.
Yeah, that one.
That's the one that has
That was
by
the single,
far the
right?
most plays on Spotify. So I'm going to assume that's the
Yeah.
single.
That's the
And
single.
I do understand why they chose it as a single, because I'm not going to say it's good, but it's the least really bad
It's
of the whole bunch.
catchiest, for sure.
Yes,
Like I was
it's-
singing along before the end of the first listen.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's super catchy. I don't know. I thought the sound of drums was a good one too. That's the one where he's singing about like it's good to see my old friends, and then there's a little solo in it. I don't know. I think it was like 4 or 5.
Yeah, the solo is good in it, and the whole like I kind of cringe. Well, I mean, I cringe at a lot of the lyrics now at this point from what he writes, but especially when he gets nostalgic like that. Like I remember on the album that has the monster on the cover, Everything Will Be All Right.
Yeah,
They had that song Back to the Shack, and I was like, all right, this is cool. And then you listen to the rest of it, and like they're clearly not trying to go back to what they used to be, which I'm not gonna fault any band for like transforming and not just trying to sound the same as they used to. But like on every few albums now, they'll have a song that's like nostalgic or this is what we used to be like, and let's get back to that. And then they make no effort to follow through on it.
he still has the lightning strap though.
I saw that on I guess they played Jimmy Fallon or one of those late nights this week.
Yeah,
The elf ears.
Yeah, the thankfully
Easter Bunny?
I did notice the lightning strap first, because I that's like as iconic as his glasses to me back
yeah.
when he wore the glasses. But yeah, the elf ears.
Yeah, I didn't pick those up till Brett pointed it out. That you pointed out, and yeah, the elf ears are something.
He looks like a Skyrim character or something. Like
Hey, I dig my fair share of fantasy stuff, but I don't know. National TV, new single, elf ears.
yeah, that's I also love Harry Potter, other things with elves, but I couldn't get past him doing that on national television.
There was like a dude dressed up as something weird too, like a
Easter
Chuck E.
Bunny,
Cheese
right?
looking character. Yeah, yeah,
I did not watch. I watched like 10 seconds of the video, so I guess I didn't
Yeah.
get that far.
yeah. I saw some of the Instagram clip too, and they had the set was kind of crazy. They had all like this moss everywhere. I don't.
Have you seen them live before?
Yes, me and Brett saw him at PNC a few years ago. That was about it though. I've never seen them in like a small club, which is where I'd like to see them, but just never worked out.
I just asked because I actually saw them on Halloween night at Hammerstein Ballroom in like 2009 or 2010, and they wore like over the top ridiculous costumes the entire time, which is what that performance reminded me of.
That was like Ratitude era, right?
Yeah, and if memory serves correct, I think Matt and Kim was the opener, kind of before they. Not that Matt and Kim's like a huge band now, but they're definitely more popular now.
Didn't you get to see like Pinkerton in full at one of those shows, or that was a different show?
So it's weird. They've always been like they were one of the first bands I ever fell in love with. I've always loved Weezer, despite all the shit I've spoken about them in the last 50 minutes.
It's being always. Fan.
But I never saw them in concert until I got to college, and it's because they were pumping out albums and just touring constantly. So I didn't see them until like 08, and then I saw them like 12 times in the span of like 6 years because they just always toured around here. I saw them on the Memories tour, so I want to say that's Hurley is the album that Memories is on. And yeah, I went back to back nights. The first night they played the Blue Album, and the second night they played Pinkerton.
Wow.
And at Roseland Ballroom, rest in peace, which was way too small of a venue for them to play because it was like alarmingly packed both nights. And you know, as much as I ride for Pinkerton and say it's the better album, the Blue Album night was better because they played a bunch of B-sides. So like they played Jamie and Suzanne for the first time in like 25 years or something. It was insane.
That's awesome. They put on a really great show. I just remembered I saw them open for Blink once too, and obviously like it's hard not to be a Weezer fan, but I wasn't like deep into Weezer at that point. Like I didn't discover like Pinkerton till college and whatever. But I left that Blink show thinking Weezer stole the show like by far. They just really Rivers was just he was so great on stage. He did this thing where he started playing Island in the Sun with his looper pedal and just like built the whole song in front of you. It's really cool. And then they do those medleys me and Brett were talking about last week where they just string together a bunch, which is always fun.
They have so many
Yeah,
songs now
they're-
they can't play them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Impressive.
that's a good point. They have a lot of music, and he's like an underrated musician, Rivers. He's a really good guitarist.
He really
And he has
is.
been for a really long time, and it's like you kind of like first hear it on like Maladroit and the Green album, because the Blue album stuff is a lot of Brian Bell, but even the catchy stuff on Blue album is Jason Cropper, who didn't even make it like to the Blue album tour. I don't think he left the band before it.
They brought in
But,
Brian
like,
Bell.
Yeah, and they put in Brian Bell for the Blue album tour. But like on the first album, My Name is Jonas, Surf Wax America, and like all the other awesome riffs are not Rivers or Brian Bell, it's the original guy. But since then, yeah, Rivers, this like their songs have solos now. Then when the early stuff didn't really have that many solos. He's a really good guitarist.
Goes back to like his Kiss roots and all his hair metal solos that he enjoys.
Yep. Yeah. I was thinking the other day, I don't know if this is like a fair assumption, but I feel like most of my favorite Weezer songs have unique solos, and then the songs where the solo just kind of like mirrors the vocal melody are less good. And I don't know. I think it just shows like it's more interesting than just like riffing on the vocals. But
Yeah, I definitely when I think of their solos, I think of the ones that don't go along with the vocals. Like I think Tired of Sex probably is his best solo.
that solo is insane. I could never figure it out.
Yeah, I would have no idea. And but even more quote unquote recent stuff like Make Believe has a couple of good solos. Perfect Situation has a really good
Yeah.
solo.
It's a great solo.
The way it builds is so nice.
But that kind of gets into like the kind of the duality of Weezer, if you will. Like you have the pop side and you have the guitar driven side. I feel like Nick, you agree with me. Like we're kind of more we lean towards the guitar side of Weezer. But there's like a ton of fans out there that love the pop stuff. Like there's, believe it or not, fans that love like the Black Album and Pacific Daydream. And I'm like, I don't get it. Like I need my Weezer to have guitars in it, but there is that faction of the fan base, and that's kind of why like they're so divisive, and why like there's all these different conversations about this band all the time where people can really never seem to agree one way or the other.
Brett, what do you
Yeah.
think about mandolins and flutes? Because we got a lot of that on this spring season album.
I
Were you
mean,
feeling it?
I didn't hate it. Like I kind of there's so many like Weezer releases now. I kind of just look at them like if I was putting together like a Spotify playlist of like my favorite Weezer songs, like going through their entire like discography, are there like a handful of songs I could pull off this that I'd add to that playlist? And with this, I found like 3. I want to say like obviously the single I thought was great, and I'm a bit of a mush, so I thought A Little Bit of Love was a great song. I would put Opening Night on there, and I like the closer Wild at Heart, especially like the little breakdown at the end. I'm
Yeah.
always a sucker for those. But the rest was kind of it didn't really hit as much as those 3 did. Like I didn't mind it. It did sound like it did nail what they were going for with a like, EP that sounds like spring. But
Yeah.
again, if I was building a Weezer playlist, I'm only taking 3 from this EP, and I'm kind of leaving the rest
3 out of
to
7
stay on
ain't
the
bad.
EP.
I
Me, it sounds so overproduced, this EP, which is like kind of a common theme with their stuff now. But the early stuff and the stuff that I fell in love with that's guitar heavy was like Rico Kasich producing the first one. I want to say they produced Pinkerton, but it was always like musicians and you could hear everything being played. And on this new one, like I don't even hear Scott Schreiner playing bass in like any of these songs.
That's a good point.
If he's in it, the mix is super low because I barely hear a bass guitar.
Yeah, the bass didn't really come through to me. Maybe on the last track that Brett mentioned, because that was kind of the heavier one of the bunch. I did really like there were a lot of good backing vocals on this album, like just like whoa whoas and ahs, like kind of Beatlesy style, which I appreciated a lot. But yeah, it fell a little flat for me. I liked it more on like consecutive listens, which I probably wouldn't have gave it if not for the pod. But I stuck with it, and I listened to it walking around the block, and I liked it way more walking around the block. I don't know. It's just the spring theme, but being outside and like there's like birds at the beginning of that Garden of Eden song, and I just thought there were just birds near me. Then I realized it was the song, and like I just like felt the spring vibe more being
It fits the
outside.
theme.
Yeah, go for a walk and listen to the album. Just try it once. It was interesting.
I also thought like what was it? Angels on Vacation. That was such a weird song. Like it gave me like an existential crisis. I'm like, angels on vacation. Like, wait, angels take vacations? Wait, if we die and become angels, we still have to work when we die and we need vacations.
Yeah, wait.
And like I get wrapped up in that thought instead of actually like listening to the song.
What do you say? He's like, hang your halos at the door, like the big man's not watching or something.
That's it.
There were some lyrics that kind of caught my ear. The one I wrote it down. I don't remember the song. It starts off with he's flying a key on a kite waiting for lightning or something like that. I just thought it was kind of clever and had that nice alliteration to it, which I got wrong because I don't remember what he said, but something about a key and a kite.
The thing with like the easy rhymes is, have you guys seen this interview he gave like 7 or 8 years ago where he said he has a spreadsheet and he basically just like mixes and matches things that rhyme, and that's how he creates songs now?
And Song Exploder, right?
He said it on the Song Exploder podcast. And that to me, that takes like the air out of everything. That when you're listening to this, you're like, oh, this isn't that bad. And then you're like, wait, did he just like Control F to try and find words that rhyme? And like, that's how this was built, because that takes the magic out of it for me big time.
Yeah, it's definitely like takes a little sincerity out of it for sure. Like, I don't think he was using a rhyming dictionary on Pinkerton.
No.
He was just going from the heart.
Exactly. And like, that's the thing about the earliest stuff. Like, I don't need to have another Pinkerton. Like, I probably wouldn't want him to feel like he used to feel, that he felt the need to write Pinkerton again, because he was clearly messed up when he wrote it. But yeah, this EP, I will say the Angels on Vacation, I wrote down some notes. It kind of reminded me of Dreamin' from the Red album. It had like a similar outro. So I was like, hey, this is kind of a throwback to an era I don't completely hate of Weezer.
The bridge on that song was really good when it got like dark and quiet for a while. I really liked
that's right. I remember that one now.
Yeah, that caught me by surprise. Like I remember just, it's such like an upbeat album, and then that little bridge comes in, you're like, whoa, what's he doing here?
I love the Red album. Might legitimately be my third favorite album of theirs.
Yeah, I always gravitated more towards Everything Will Be All Right in the end. As far as like post Pink and Blue, I don't know why. I really like that album a lot.
There's a couple of really strong ones on that. Like I was saying before, Back to the Shack is really good.
Yeah, and then the British Are Coming, and like there was a few others, just like the instrumentals especially were just good solos and stuff. But the song you're just talking about, the Garden of Eden, kind of reminded me a little, or Angels on Vacation, of the Good Life riff from Pinkerton, because it had that little bop 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 bop. Yeah, anything that could make me think of Pinkerton for a second is always kind of nice.
I actually have it written down here. My favorite thing about listening to this on Spotify was that I listened to it 3 times. So like when you're done with it, it goes to like Weezer radio. And the first time after this horrific EP ended, Tired of Sex turned on. And then on the second play, The World Has Turned and Left Me Here came on. And I was like, okay, this wasn't a total waste, because Spotify knows me well enough at this point that they put on something I actually like afterwards.
They dangle a treat there for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do appreciate like bands that have been around this long. You put on their new stuff, and even if you don't love it, it makes you like go down their rabbit hole for a little bit. Like I've been listening to Weezer like all week, and I'll listen to this, and then I put on Pink, I put on Everything Will Be All Right, and then kind of just those two. But it was just nice to revisit Weezer for a while.
You have to kind of respect a band that's been around this. Like I don't listen to many bands at a high level that have been around this long. Like I loved the Foo Fighters at one point in my life. I probably haven't really played one of their records a lot since Wasting Light, which is like what, 10 or 11 years ago.
Probably like the last
And
great album they made.
they've had like 3 records since then, probably.
Yeah.
Parko, I had a quick follow-up question for you because you said at the beginning. So you said your last favorite album from them was Red, right? From Weezer.
Yeah. But like
So-
I would put that in like the borderline masterpiece category. Yeah.
Okay. So did you like hate all the ones that came after? Or, like, did you like enjoy White? I know we kind of talked about Everything Will Be All Right in the end, but like, did you hate the White album? Or I know like kind of Pacific Daydream and Black were not good. Teal, the cover
let me
album,
get their
was okay, but-
discography up. So from Red we have. Okay, so Red's before Ratitude and Hurley, which I don't hate Ratitude and Hurley as much as most Weezer fans do.
How was the Hurley re-listen today? You said you were refreshed. You were re-listening to that.
Yeah, like I think Memory's good. I think Runaway is really good, and I think that's they wrote that song with Ryan Adams actually. What else is
Like,
good
can we
on
say
there?
that?
Yeah, I know he's canceled. Hang On's not a bad one. Like there's some real gems on that and Ratitude. Unfortunately, Nick, I don't really care for Everything Will Be Alright in the end, looking over the track listing. Lonely Girl's good. Lonely Girl sounds like a Green Album song.
I love Green Album.
But from the White Album, I remember King of the World. That's one that jumps out to me of a really catchy one that I liked. But since then, yeah. So no, I do not care for Pacific Daydream. I really don't care for the Teal album. And I hated that kind of like reinvigorated Weezer because it like
The
don't
Africa
egg them
cover.
on to do shit like that. Like don't like no, it's not a good cover. I don't know why people like the Africa cover. Like, and the fact that the internet liked it so much that it gave them the confidence to like build a whole record around it. No, thank you.
What about the two from last year? Okay Human and Van Weezer.
Van Weezer, I haven't listened to and don't really have a desire to listen to because I don't really care for the source material, like that sound,
Halen.
like the hair metal. Yeah, I don't. That's not. I'm more of like if we're going 80s, I'm more of like a Cure or like Pixies, Depeche Mode person than Van Halen.
Springsteen.
Yeah, I mean, I am from New Jersey, so I don't really have a choice. That's like in my DNA. And Okay Human, if you get past the title, which are they like trying to make fun of Radiohead? I don't really get it.
Yeah, that's what I
Like,
thought.
like I
That's what I
guess it's a
thought too.
pun on OK Computer, which yeah, I know they've covered Radiohead in the past, so he clearly likes Radiohead.
But then it sounded like the Beach Boys, that whole album. Like they like made like an album name that was a tribute to Radiohead, but then it was like a Beach Boys sounding album.
what's the all my favorite songs? Is that the one? That's the song on that album?
Yeah, that's the opener.
Yeah, that was the single.
That's a good song, and I don't remember any other song from that record.
Yeah, I'm kind
A
of
lot of
with ya.
pianos.
There was the Grapes of Wrath song where he just like sang about books, which is kind of similar to the Shakespeare song. on
And
this one.
numbers.
Yeah, I'm looking over the track listing and I don't remember anything besides all my favorite songs. But I do remember during quarantine, they did like some kind of live orchestral like arrangement of it, which I imagine is way more easy to listen to than the final versions that are on Spotify.
So Nick, what of the upcoming seasons, what do you have the highest hopes for?
I mean, when it's Weezer, like it has to be summer, right? Like they're kind of a summery band, although my favorite album of theirs is very much not a summer record. But I mean, I think of Weezer and yeah, like Blue Album, Green Album, everything besides Pinkerton basically is summer sounding. So I would assume that'll probably wind up being my favorite one.
You know what they're going for with the winter one, right?
No.
River said he's aiming for like Elliott Smith.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll go over well. I'm sure the spreadsheet he'll be able to dig up some stuff that sounds like Elliott Smith.
And then fall, I think he said like the Strokes.
Okay, I don't hate that because I love the Strokes.
Yeah, I'd be down with
Although
that.
I don't really think fall or autumn when I hear the Strokes.
I don't either.
No,
I think they're another summer band I think of.
Unless maybe he said the summer was Strokes. I might be mixing that up. That would make more sense, maybe.
I would, dare I say, be kind of excited to hear them try and do something like that.
yeah, because Strokes are more raw sounding than the overproduced style that you don't like.
Exactly. Yeah, they have like that garage sound, and
Yeah,
they kind of always have, which is why they're one of my favorite bands.
yeah. I was listening to Is This It today because me and Brett we're gonna get into later albums that make us think of spring, like other albums. And I spoiler alert for later, I think that's one of them. Like that gives me spring vibes for sure. I just
Yeah, they've
Great
been, they're another one of my favorites for years. I'm actually seeing them in a couple weeks. They're playing a rescheduled New Year's Eve show at Barclays Center, which I'm pretty excited for.
Oh, that's
Is their new stuff good? I haven't listened to any of it.
Yeah. Yeah, they've always
good.
kind of stayed true to themselves. They don't, you kind of
Don't
know
get
what
lost.
you're getting when you put on one of their records. Yeah. Unlike Weezer.
which can be a blessing and a curse, depending on what you get.
Mhm.
You get Shakespeare makes you happy.
But not Parko.
No.
The new Weezer does not make me happy. For the most part. But like I said, it's I feel bad crapping on them because they're like a huge part of my life. They were my first or second favorite band probably after like Oasis or U2 when I was a little kid. And I've been listening to them for like 25 years. Absolutely love them. I just don't like their current stuff.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fans that have the same sentiment, but that's the beauty of being a Weezer fan. You get to have these strong opinions and see what Rivers is going to give you. And we'll always listen. It's just a matter of if it sticks or not.
I will always I'll always at least listen to whatever they do once, except that Van Weezer thing, which I have no desire to.
See, I love Van Halen, so I actually love that
Yeah.
one too. So most of it, they literally did a straight up Crazy Train cover on one of them, on one of the songs.
Yeah, I don't know where along the line they decided to like start doing a bunch of covers.
Someone tweeted at them.
Like, well, yeah, no, I know that's the story behind the Toto thing, but it's like I've seen them probably more than I've seen any other live band, and they never cover people live.
They don't have to.
Well, that's a good point.
Catalog.
Yeah, but like in the last few years, it's just these covers, and maybe I'll listen to the Crazy Train when I like it because I like that song.
Yeah, I forgot the name of the song though, so it shows how much it stuck with me. But
He just needs to listen to the whole album to find it.
yeah.
And maybe I could do it like a spreadsheet like he does and find the stuff that I like on it.
Control F Crazy Train.
Yeah. Well, Nick, this has been awesome. We definitely have to have you back when summer comes out, and we'll see what.
So you guys are gonna force me to listen to all of these EPs this year, aren't you?
Might as well bring you on for all four of them.
Yep. And then a fifth episode where we could just really give our thoughts on all of them all over again.
All right, sounds good. I'll be back around every solstice. Is that the plan that they're releasing these,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And then next year they'll do months. They'll do like January, February.
You're not. I love you guys. You're not getting me to listen to 12 Weezer repeats in 1 year. But
We'll see. This one could be our most listened to episode, and then the fans can demand it.
It's true.
yeah, thanks for. I'll leave now, but thanks for having me on, and I guess I look forward to returning more so to talk to you guys than to talk about Weezer. But I'll talk to you in a few months, I guess.
Can't wait. Thanks so
Hey,
much.
we're looking
Nick.
forward to
was
it.
Fun. We'll talk to you soon. All right. Thanks to Nick for coming on. That was fun. In the theme of Weezer and spring season, me and Brett are gonna break down some albums that make us think of spring. So, Brett, I'll throw it to you first. What do you got?
So before I give you a couple, I want to see if you're the same way as me. Are
Okay.
like a lot of your selections kind of from like bands you discovered in the springtime in your youth, and then they become like bands you turn to in the spring?
So that would make sense, but that's not what happened for me.
Okay.
Um, I couldn't think of bands that I specifically like. A summer band you can seems easier, or like a winter band, but spring is such a like weird like B season. No disrespect to springtime if you're listening. Spring. Um, yeah, I can't pinpoint like I can't pinpoint too many things. Yeah, what do you got?
So like my go-tos are, so like I discovered Nirvana in the spring, like growing up. So like I love to put their on like the Unplugged album around this time of year. And of course, Little Nevermind and In
Yeah,
Utero.
yeah,
Uh Ocean Avenue, Yellow Card.
it's a good one.
I know it's a summer album, but
Yeah,
you don't get the summer without spring. So
it's definitely a summer album, but you're right. If did you
but
just
honest,
discover it in the spring? That's
discover it in the
falling under the
spring, and then
category.
then that pretty much became the soundtrack of that summer too. But it was discovered in the spring.
Very nice.
Uh, then honestly, a lot of these are pop punk because I got into pop punk for the first time in springtime when I was around like 12, 13, maybe a little younger. So that's why like Blink, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, big spring album for me. Also
Yeah,
Dude Ranch, because that was when I was discovering them. So obviously I want to dig into like everything they had.
yeah, yeah.
Sum
Those can't
41,
go
of
wrong with those. Ooh, yeah,
course.
yeah. See, I got them for Christmas. I got All Killer No Filler. My 83-year-old grandma bought it for me. I remember her handing me the album.
That's awesome though.
Yeah, I put it on my list. Like she definitely didn't know what was going on, but just her handing me that album with all their faces on it just always stuck with me. But
I hear this will make you happy.
yeah, yeah, I guess that would be an album I received in the winter, but I don't know if I consider that a winter album. So I might be with you on spring. I had Nirvana on mine. Nevermind.
Hey, there
Definitely.
we go.
Yeah. I mean, they have a song called In Bloom. Like, what's more spring than In Bloom?
Should have mentioned that. I'm glad you did.
um, and then I mentioned during the interview with Nick, The Strokes, Is This It? Um, I'm not like, I don't know much Strokes, but I know that album. And I don't know, it just gives me spring vibes. It's got that like surfer rock, like broken down guitars. Yeah, just I like it. And then I got some Beatles, like Revolver. Feels like that kind of like upbeat, but not too crazy. I don't
They're
know.
good spring music, I'd say.
Yeah,
The Beatles.
yeah. It's definitely a season where you're looking for happier music. Winter's easy to go down like the emo rabbit hole.
A lot of acoustic and some
Yeah,
dashboard.
yeah. Um,
Shout out to Parko for the dashboard reference.
um, yeah, I spring's it's a nice time for music. Things are getting happier, but they're not I like to mirror it with the vibe of the actual season, which I guess isn't too much of a surprise. But yeah, you're not in full blown like party mode of summer yet, but you're kind of coming out of hibernation and coming
You're
back to
revving up.
life. Yeah. Yeah. So go definitely listen to make a nice little playlist. I'll throw this in now. I was gonna say it at the end, but I made a playlist for the podcast, and I'll just put on songs we talk about each week, and if anyone wants to listen, you can follow that, and I'll just keep updating it.
We'll put all of the Weezer Spring EP on there.
Yeah,
I
maybe two or three.
think opening night should definitely kick it off.
Yeah, Shakespeare makes me happy. Man, the first time I put that one on, I didn't know what was happening. Like,
Then it hits the 40-second mark, and then it's like, all right, this is
yeah,
Weezer.
yeah, it's very like jarring at first. I don't know. I enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it.
they wanted to make an album like Spring, and I think they did it. So
I think they nailed it. To getting
Yeah.
the bird sounds in there.
yeah, it was good. I liked it.
Yeah, but like I said, three big takeaways from it, but otherwise it's good background music for like, walking around, like you said, taking a hike.
walk around
Throw it on.
and listen to it. I'm telling you, that's the formula. They should put that on like the listening rules. Walk around and listen to this. Walk around outside. Don't just walk around your house.
Not in your house.
What do we got coming up next week? I know you mentioned a new MGK album on Friday.
I think that's
Just-
going to be a bulk of our episode next week. So I'm curious if it's going to be more of the same or if he does something different. But either way,
It's gonna make
people are going to react
waves.
strongly to it,
Oh yeah.
one way or the other. So there we'll have
have-
plenty to talk about with that one, I'm sure.
I have a lot of opinions about that album that I haven't heard yet. Also, Kevin Devine is coming out with a new album on Friday. I only recently got into him. He was always kind of like just like another guy in that whole like Front Bottoms Manchester Orchestra world. But he's really good. Listened to him for a couple months, and he's got a lot of his earlier stuff is more singer songwriter, and then later he gets a full band for a lot of it, and he's just the music's creative. It's different. I'm excited for this one. There's 3 singles out now, and they're all very good.
I have to listen to him more. I only know like 2 songs, like Ball Game and Brother's Blood. Right?
Yeah.
Both of them are great songs though. So
Yeah, he's got an album on like Circle Square, something like that. That's great. And then listen to the new one Friday, because he's
talk about it next
he's
week.
doing good things. Yeah. So we have a voicemail.
Yes.
It's very exciting. I'm gonna get it ready right now. My friend called in.
I was gonna say, should I pretend like we don't know him, or is it okay to act like we know him?
No, we know
Because
him.
we love Vinny.
Yes. Let's get it up. Should have had it ready. It's okay. Okay, here we go.
Hey, Nick. Hey, Brett. Big fan of the pod. I've been listening to you guys since the beginning. I just wanted to ask if there was ever a time where you guys were really down on a show, like you didn't want to go and you forgot you had tickets, or you saw a band that you weren't really into and then you actually came out of the whole thing with a really positive experience, or fell in love with a band that you weren't really into. Keep up the good work, guys. I will listen off air for my answer.
All right. Thank you, Vinny. It's a great question.
First question.
Yeah. It wasn't a plant. That was his question. And it's a great one. It really had me thinking for like a couple days before I really came to an answer that I liked. What do you got, Brett? What are you thinking?
So I laughed thinking about the first part of this question because I want to see if you remember. Do you remember when we didn't go see Thrice in like the summer of 2016? We had tickets and we just didn't feel like going, so we didn't go.
I
We didn't even like
vaguely-
sell them. We just didn't go.
What? That's horrible.
We just ate the money and didn't go.
Was it raining? It was-
No, it was at Starland.
Dude, not cool.
Now I regret not going because I love Thrice, but
Yeah,
that did happen
AC Beer Fest this year. Playing.
with Bayside, right?
Yeah. Wait, I vaguely remember. Probably don't remember because we didn't go. Damn.
That's probably why.
Damn. Yeah, that one definitely would fall into the category.
Yeah, we literally didn't go.
That's a rough one.
But I don't think I've ever like had tickets to a show and be like, man, I really don't want to go. I don't know if maybe I learned my lesson from that show and I'm like, all right, I'm only going to buy tickets for shows I really, really want to go to.
Yeah. There was one show. My uncle and I had tickets to see Bullet for My Valentine in the city on like a Tuesday, and it was just like torrential downpour, and we were like just coming off some like a death in the family like not that long ago, we just weren't up for it, and we just bailed and ate the tickets too, which was disappointing. But I mean, going into the city in a thunderstorm on a Tuesday. oof.
And that one's understandable, especially with all the circumstances around it.
Yeah, I think we were trying to force ourselves back to just like normal life a little too fast. Or we probably had the tickets before um, things went down. But yeah, that one kind of hurt. I will say there, to answer Vinny's question about a band you weren't super high on that you then saw, and
I got two.
one that comes to mind for me, when I was doing music journalism out of college, I was asked to cover this band called Foxing, who I think we know now. And it was their first album. I listened to it a little, like just doing prep. And I went to the show. This was at Webster Hall. I went by myself, and it was in the basement of Webster Hall, which I didn't even know was a thing until this time. Which is, it's what it sounds like. It's just like underneath the main stage is just this basement with a smaller stage. Um, and they blew me away. It was an unreal show. It was such a small, tiny spot, and just like the passion and energy and music coming out of these guys was unreal. And I've been a fan since. Um, that was a big one. And it's not that I was excited for it, but I didn't have much expectations. They're just some up and coming band on a debut album, and they knocked it out of the park. That show was awesome. So
They're still such a good live band too.
yeah, they're really talented. They put out an album kind of recently, which I want to go back to. I actually didn't like love it that much, which I know it sounds funny after me just talking them up, but
They shot for pop.
yeah, they kind of stopped like yelling as much, which I like that more than just like the slower like monotone. I don't know. I'll
We
give it
like
another
yelling on
shot.
this podcast.
Yes. Yeah. Just scream. Scream and play. Go from quiet to loud. That's what I like. And Foxing does that very well, or
Yes, they do.
did it very well. Yeah, so that would be my answer, Vinny. What are you thinking, Brett?
So I had two for this. I'm probably cheating a little bit, but I remember when I saw Blink-182 back in 2011, they were playing with My Chemical Romance on that Honda Civic tour.
Yeah.
And the opening for them was a little band called Manchester Orchestra, who going into that show I'd never heard of before. And they come out and they play Pride. And the song just blew me away because the song is like such an epic build and like a really catchy guitar riff. And I was just hooked for like the rest of their set. And I like went home and I like downloaded Me Never Think to Nothing. And I've been a fan of the fan. I've been a fan of the band ever since like that show, and they're incredible live still. And but who would have thought going to that show with those big headliners that probably
Yeah.
my favorite part of the night was them, believe it or
Yeah.
not. But so that was my first one. The second one you were actually there for when we saw Foo Fighters at Citi Field. Do you remember when Royal Blood opened for them?
Yeah.
It was just like they were unbelievable, like waiting online for merch so I can get my Citi Field Foo Fighters Mets merch to bring home. And like we had to like rush back to our seats because we were like really digging the band. And we
Yeah.
get back and we see it's just two guys, the drummer and a guitarist, but they sound like their sound just like explodes out of the speakers. And that first album was great, like Out of the Black, Figure It Out, Little Monsters. I mean,
wow, yeah.
their other albums haven't been as good as that one, but like they blew me away. And that was at a Foo Fighters show, and Foo Fighters are my favorite band. So
Yeah.
it says a lot when the opener stands out to you, I feel like.
You're right. Royal Blood, actually, now that you mention it, they did that for me twice, because when I was with you, we had that feeling. Then I forgot about them. Then, then I went with my friend Josh to, I think it was Governor's Ball in 2017. I don't know. It's not important. And Tool was headlining, so that was like mainly why we were going. And Royal Blood played before them, and I left thinking, holy shit, these guys really bring it. So, and I must have forgot that they brought it for Foo Fighters.
They did.
So they did it for me twice. So maybe I should put them back on. Maybe they'll be a spring band.
Especially that self-titled album.
Yeah. Wow, I forgot all about them. Yeah, and then one more I got Jimmy Eat World, which isn't like the hottest of takes because I think everyone can agree Jimmy Eat World is an awesome band. But there's been so many festivals and shows that I've been to where they were a part of it, and I left just thinking that Jimmy Eat World was the best of the day. Um, Bamboozle in Asbury, they brought it. They opened for Green Day at my first concert ever when I was like 12, and they're really good live band. I would highly recommend seeing them.
And that Brooklyn show we went to, like, I still can't get Sandra to come out to shows because like she thinks nothing's ever gonna top how great they were that night. She's not wrong. Like, that was an unbelievable show.
Yeah, that venue was cool too. I'd like to get back there.
The
Brooklyn Steel.
Brooklyn Steel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look it up, see what's on the lineup. Although, not dying to travel into the city these days.
No. I remember the last time I was in Brooklyn, maybe for
For that.
no, it couldn't have been modern baseball. Probably the Menzingers, honestly,
Speaking
if I
of,
had to guess.
April 2nd, Starland.
Not against it.
All right,
I'm pretty sure I'm free that weekend. So
we'll talk. You have to go for the podcast. We have to go for the podcast. It's not that we want to go to the show, but now that we're doing this podcast, we have to go to even more
for
shows.
research.
Yes. That's so we could tell our wives. Or we just bring them.
Could try. It's
Yeah.
tough getting Sandra out the shows now.
Yeah. Nicole wants to come to the Rise Against You show. But she's been out of crowds for so long that I know her, and I've heard it from many other people too. Just the thought of like going back into a huge concert can be a little intimidating.
There's a lot of it was a little bit of a wake up going back to Rise Against last summer. I think that was like the first show back. But then like after the first minute, it's like, all right, I'm actually glad like I'm back in this. Like life feels normal again.
Yeah. Yeah. We need concerts.
We do.
We do. Yeah, I think that wraps up our show. We got MGK next week, Kevin Devine. We'll
Maybe
talk
a
about
guest.
it. Maybe a guest. I hope so. We'll get it in the works. Episode 2 in the books. Thank you, everybody. We love you.
I love you too.
Peace.
Bye.